Sadako has been one of the most complex killers to balance in Dead by Daylight, all because of the condemned mechanic. Make it weak, and she ends up being a pathetic killer that survivors just stomp with no issues. But make it too strong, and Sadako ends up being an A-tier poop stomper. Well, in Hotfix 7.5.1, behavior seems to have found a middle ground and introduced various quality of life changes that make her better, but not as strong as the buffed version. And surprisingly, Sadako feels way more smooth to play as now. In fact, it could be said that Sadako is almost in the healthiest state she has ever been. There are still some things I don't like about her myself, but those are reserved around her power design itself rather than the current kit we have or the balance changes that behavior added. So, in short, what they did to make her better is remove the condemned cooldown mechanic, so now you're free to spam your teleports as much as you want and apply condemn to survivors that are not interacting with your TVs. The condemn stacks are now limited to 3 per hook, instead of 2 like it used to be before. It's still a nerf compared to the PTB version, as that one locks your condemn stacks with no limit. This is one of the ones that I noticed the most. Increase the projection speed boost duration to 2 seconds, which is a net 0.5 increase, and combine this with Coup de Grace and the fingernail add-on, and you have some insanely crazy speeds. Just take a look at these 2 hits that were impossible before this change. And finally, and the one that impacts her the most in a positive way, increase the movement speed while manifesting to 4 meters per second, which feels way better than before, and also allows Sadako to do some mind games while in chase. With all these buffs, Sadako doesn't feel as terrible to play as, and in fact, her chase by itself is at the best it has ever been. However, her chase was terrible from the start. If I had to rate Sadako currently, I would rate her as a C tier, right next to Pig, and when I think about it, both of those killers are really similar in terms of power level. Both have very weak chases, with Sadako only having the demanifested palette ignore mechanic as well as the intermittent invisibility, and the Pig having the ambush, which gets countered by survivors just running or leaving the loop. Both of them have stealth components in their powers, but the Pig's stealth is really slow and makes her POV lower to the ground, and Sadako's stealth is worse than the Wraith because of the lullaby mechanic. And finally, both have a secondary gimmick that allows them to delay the match. However, in the case of Pig, this slowdown is quite substantial after various buffs, as it forces survivors to have to traverse the map in order to interact with the jigsaw boxes. And this is what makes Sadako worse, because her gimmick is completely up to survivors, and she has no input herself. As long as survivors interact with the TV, they won't be getting condemned if they play well, rendering her condemned status back to being a joke. Interacting with TV is nothing serious either, and it's one of the fastest interactions survivors can do, because not only did they make it so that survivors are able to see the auras from the TVs as well as the area of effect of the condemned by default, but TVs also spawn near generators, so there is zero penalty or drawback for interacting with the TV next to your gen while you are repairing. So in the end, this renders Sadako as a killer that can traverse the map quite well compared to the Pig, as long as survivors do not interact with the TVs, and that is a bit better at stealth. I played some matches before and after the nerfs, and I even got various condemnations. I especially enjoy the fingernail combo, as it makes playing Sadako actually fun, but not overpowered. Right now, you might feel she's significantly stronger, but that is just because survivors haven't adapted to the new version of Sadako yet. The moment all survivors understand that all you have to do is take tapes, then Sadako will finally settle as a C tier killer that cannot compete against competent survivors. Think about it this way: as a survivor, you can take a tape at the start of the match to disable the TV next to your generator and stop getting the condemned stacks while repairing. Even at worst, if you get caught, you will only get 1 permanent stack of condemned locked, so by the time you are on your second hook, Sadako would have to give you 5 stacks of condemned to kill you. But where's the point in that? The only thing that puts Sadako above the Pig is how strong she is in indoor maps against new players that don't know how to interact against her, because the condemned stack will be applied regardless of the floor you're in, and since indoor maps tend to be smaller and more constricted in nature, it is more likely that a survivor will get hit with a stack. Anyways, Let me know what you think about Sadako's quality of life changes in the comments. I would love to hear suggestions on what you would like to add to her so she becomes better. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.